Hi, Bill O'Keefe here. Welcome to the Churchclara Herd in Clara, County Kilkenny, and we're doing another video for the Irish Pure Friesian Club for 2021. This is a family farm. My farm here with my wife Olivia and my parents Philip and Margaret, my uncle Matt, and it's a family farm that's been passed down through the generations. Hopefully it'll be here for another while yet. We're here since the early 1600s, so we're here over 400 years at this stage. We've been supplying milk on this farm to Kilkenny Creamery originally, that became Plan B since 1916, so there's a strong history of milk production on the farm since that time. And I suppose we're a pedigree British Friesian herd, and we're a pedigree herd for the last 20 years, registering a number of bulls each year for sale. It's a spring calving system, very much following, I suppose, the Moore Park blueprint. Compact early spring calving, getting out to grass, and keeping cows maybe fed reasonably well across the grazing season, and trying to get over 500 kilos of milk solids per cow. Okay, so we're here in front of the freshly calved group. They're in eating a bit of maize silage and grass silage. You'd obviously like to have them out grazing, not always possible at this time of the year, so it looks like we're off grass for a couple of days at the moment. We've had about 15 mils of rain overnight, so that'll take a couple of days to soak off again. We're calving about 15 cows a day at the moment, so we've a busy six to 8 weeks ahead of us, and hopefully we'll go over the bulk of the spring work at that stage, and things will start to get a bit easier from then on. So we decided to use British Friesian on the farm, I suppose mainly for fertility and health reasons. I came home to farm in 1998, so after spending a bit of time in New Zealand, I'd seen crossbreds out there, and they were fine cows, but we weren't really going to go down that route here. And I suppose one of the main things is that they last for plenty of lactation. We have cows there 10, 11, 12 lactations, and when you have mature cows coming in doing 40 litres, they start clocking up a lot of kilos of milk solids over the course of the year. They're calving there in February, most of them. They have a long lactation, a lot of days in grass, and hopefully a lot of cheap kilos of milk solids. So we'd be doing over 500 kilos of milk solids in the co-op for the last number of years. And we've brought in a lot of heifers maybe this year, and we might struggle to quite hit that, but we're very confident that with a mature herd we can do up to 550 kilos of milk solids per cow. And we'll look through a cow maybe later on in the calving box, one that's about to calve, and we can just look through the finer points of what we see with the modern British Friesian cow. We tried to work very hard on the conformation of the cows in the herd, and I suppose by that we just mean we like to have very good quality udders, good legs and feet, and a good framey cow with good capacity to convert grass into milk, and obviously a good wide rump and a level top line. So I suppose this cow is a good example of the breed. She classified 82 points last year as a heifer. I suppose I like to say a good rectangular shape between the front legs and the back legs, just a nice level top line, and a good square cow behind. She's done 460 kilos of milk solids as a heifer, 448 fat and 362 protein, about 5,500 litres of milk. So a very good and highly productive cow. And it's just, I suppose, when we breed a lot of bulls for farmers, and when you sell a bull to a farmer, you like to be sure that he's going to leave good udders after him, leave good legs and feet in the herd. And I suppose we're very selective about which bull calves we keep to sell on to other farmers. We have a lot of repeat business over the years, a lot of people that keep coming back to us for bulls, 1 or 2 bulls over a number of years. So we started using the British Friesian bulls maybe 20 years ago again. I left school in '96, went to Ag College for a couple of years, and went to New Zealand for 9 months, and saw plenty of nice crossbred cows out there. But we weren't what we wanted to milk here. We did try a couple of times and just felt that they weren't fitting in what we wanted to do in the herd. So we would have been using a lot of high RBI, high milk bulls at the time. We would have been using the likes of Nedby, Sunny Guy, Lindy Alfred, Malloy, those sort of bulls going back along. And so the first cross was okay. They were still strong enough fertility. So when we went into the second and third crosses afterwards, so we started to run into a lot of fertility problems with those cows. High empty rates, 15-20% empty, 15-16 week breeding season, cows calving out to June, and running cows from 1 year to the next. So just plenty of trouble. I would have had friends maybe at the time that were milking pure Friesian herds, so I'd had a beef enterprise on the farm, stayed Friesian, and mightn't have been getting the same production, but a lot less problems and a lot less trouble getting cows and calf every year. So we went back and we had a serious look at that, and there's still some old Frisian families on the farm here, and my grandparents heard the Paracord herd on the Gorse Bridge. They would have had some nice cow families, and some older cows when they were finished came up from that herd. We did some embryo work and bred stock bulls off them where we could, and some of those bulls were very successful and left exceptional daughters in the herd. We're still using some of those bulls to today, maybe bulls that were born 15 years ago. So we've gone in and tried to pick up older Frisian genetics where we could, the likes of Cornell Pegasus, Grove Breadwinner bloodlines, going back using bulls from the likes of the Catlane Herd, Lakemead Herd, Black Isle Herd, and Castledale and Nearwater in more recent times, and trying to blend those bloodlines in across the cow families that we had here and pick up any older families that we could along the way. And I suppose we've added to the herd over the years. We've bought in sales in Black Isle, Culverness, Langley in recent times, and a few females added as well from the Castledale Herd in Northern Ireland, and then some of our own genetics. And I suppose we're trying to breed as productive a cow as possible, like a nice type cow, so we'd have to herd to be classified VG or excellent at this stage. Very good udders and likes of feet in the herd in general, and trying to weed out the problem ones. And I suppose kilos and solids then is the next thing, and I suppose we're working on that all the time, and it would be milk according around 550, 560 kilos of solids, delivering just over 500 kilos of solids to the co-op most of the time, and trying to improve on that every year. So I suppose we have cows doing up as high as 600, 700, 800 kilos of solids, and we're trying to keep sons from those cows at the moment to add to the breeding programme and to bring the thing forward in the future. EBI is always a struggle, but we'll work on that as much as we can over the next few years, and we might introduce some other genetics. We'll see how we go. So I suppose the way we look at it is, if a cow calves in February and she's clocking 40 litres there, and she keeps doing that for as long as possible through the spring, she'll leave a lot of kilos of milk solids after at the end of the year. And that's why fertility we see as being the key to production on the farm, and a high 6-week calving rate, high submission rate, high conception rate all helps for that, and helps the cows just to leave a lot of solids across a good long lactation. I suppose the other thing is then we'd have a lot of cows when we finish building numbers. We've cows getting to 10, 11, 12 lactation. With a cow classified excellent 92 this year on her 12th lactation. She's still fresh as a daisy and gone back in calf, so we'll see how she lasts over time. But when you have cows getting to that and doing mature yields for a long number of years, that just makes the production very easy on the farm. So trying to get to a mature herd, fertile trouble-free herd, and trying to improve the Frisian breed all the time, that's what we're about. And I suppose we dip back into older bulls when we have to, and use whatever's new and modern coming on the scene as well at times, to try and improve the breed and improve the herd as best we can going forward. So I suppose our milk records most recently would be 7,332 kilos of milk, 4.07 butter fat and 3.69 protein. Our butter fat is probably a little bit low. We were recording through jars at the time, and we've changed across to milk meters now. That's 569 kilos of solids from the herd, with a 364-day calving interval and 88% calved in 6 weeks. I suppose our EBI would say that we're minus 171 kilos of milk, minus 2.4 kilos of fat, and minus 4 kilos of protein, and minus 13 on our milk sub-index. So it's all a little bit hard to understand at times. So we're plus 80 on fertility, but we'd see bulls at plus 200 and 300 on fertility, and not doing the same figures as what the cows in the herd are doing. We've a 450 acre grazing platform here now in Clara, which is brilliant, but I suppose it's a long, narrow farm. It creates its own challenges. So it's 1.5 kilometres from the milking parlour to the far end on one side, and it's 2.5 kilometres to the far end on the other side. So there's a lot of walking involved in that, and I suppose this year we would have increased the silage pits on the farm. We've gone from 1,200 tonnes of storage to 2,500 tonnes of silage storage. We have good slurry storage on the farm already. We have a 1 million gallon slurry tank on the farm, and I suppose just in last summer we doubled up the milking parlour from 20 unit herringbone to a 21 double up herringbone with cluster removers, new milk meters, and feed to yield system gone into the parlour as well. So we were looking at a rotary parlour. We felt the investment was too much, and the way that the farm is laid out, It's a very long walk at times. We feel the farm might lend itself to having a second milking parlour at the farm at some stage if numbers increase any further. So we're milking 450 cows this year, and at the stocking rate of around 3 cows to the hectare on the hardcore grazing block, and we use some of the farm fields further away for heifer rearing and for young stock. We've expanded our farm through leasing in blocks of ground from some of our neighbours, and in a lot of cases it's leasing in a portion of a farm or a few fields, and a lot of those farmers are still farming actively in their own right at the same time, and we do business with those as well. Some of them take cull cows from us to fatten, they take bull calves from us and beef calves from us, and I suppose it's a nice relationship to have with your neighbours. We might buy straw or bales of silage from some of them as well, and indeed some of them are even working with us on the farm. So it's just a good working relationship that we have, and it's I suppose a positive story to tell, that these expansion of cows and bigger herds, they can often give a good bit of income to a parish, to a neighbourhood, and I suppose put money in a few people's pockets and not just one person. I suppose this is the farm office, and I suppose this is probably the most important part of the farm nowadays. We've the Delpro system here. It's telling us how much milk was produced yesterday. We're still in the early part of lactation, so 22.7 kilos, and how much concentrate was consumed yesterday. That total was consumed 5.98, so 6 kilos of cow is what we're feeding for the moment through the spring, and I suppose all the graphs are going the right direction. The milk yield is so the other program we use a lot is the Irish Farm computer system, and the recent events for putting in calvings and that uploads everything to ICBF as well. And we've also installed the cow manager tags in the cows this winter. So for example, that's telling us which cows are ruminating, how much they're eating, are they lying down. It's the full fertility, health and nutrition package. I suppose the fertility, it's going to pick out the cows on heat and give us the optimum time for AI, and allow us to use the drafting system to pull them out. And then on the health side of things, it's watching cows if they're lying down too much, not eating enough, and it takes temperature of the cow regularly as well to see if the cows are okay, and it'll alert. And even the other day it alerted the cow that was just laying a bit off colour and just needed to be maybe moved into the calving box a bit early and given a bit of TLC. The nutrition tells us if a cow is ruminating or eating. It can tell the difference between chewing the cud and grazing or eating silage, and I suppose it's gone to the stage now with numbers increasing. You need to be able to keep an eye on cows out the field, and this thing is working out the field. There's solar routers out sending information back constantly from the fields, and keeping an eye on the cows 24 hours a day. And hasn't picked up too many problems yet, thankfully. The breeding season is the big one, and hopefully it'll flag if there's a few sick cows or cows off colour through the spring. Hopefully we won't have too many problems, but if it does, it'll pick them up. Okay, so we always farm here in Clara with the environment in mind. We try to look after the environment as much as possible. We've fenced off this water course here. We've about 2.5 kilometres of water course on the farm that we've fenced off to protect the wildlife, and we've also let the hedges grow a little bit more this year. And we're planting a lot more native trees on the farm. I suppose it's one thing, it's trying to educate farmers. I suppose we would have planted maybe chestnut and beech trees going back, which aren't native, and I suppose we're trying to move over towards oak, white thorn, ash unfortunately, which is dieback we're staying away from. We've planted some willows and some birch trees and some holly on the farm as well this winter. We're always trying to do a small bit for the environment to try and improve things, improve biodiversity, and maybe create some small habitats on the farm. We're looking at maybe create some ponds along the stream in the future, just to improve things further. Historically, we wouldn't have taken out a whole lot of hedgerows out of the farm, and we would have a stream running right down through the middle of the whole farm actually at the moment. It's something that we're conscious of protecting and working with and working around. And we're very happy that we've left all the old hedgerows on the farm and planted some new hedgerows, and we'd have planted about 300 trees this winter, and it's something that we try to do every winter, is add to the habitat, the biodiversity and the native woodland in pockets that we have on the farm. So that's it from Churchclara Herd, lads, and I hope you enjoyed the video. You know what we're trying to do here, trying to breed a herd of fertile, healthy and productive British Friesian cows while looking after the environment and doing our bit for more biodiversity and for our carbon footprint as well. So hopefully we can pass the farm on in a better state than we got it.